Hi everybody, I'm Maureen. I was asked by a few people to kind of go through how I set up my mealworm farm. When we were talking with Jeff a couple Fridays ago when we were going through our labels for our chicken feed, he talked about raising mealworms as opposed to using black soldier fly larvae. He felt that it was cleaner and we could control the substrate better. So I used to do this many years ago. I had sugar gliders and I used to feed mealworms to them. I can tell you it's very easy, but it is time consuming because you do need to sort through these layers almost on a daily or weekly basis. I prefer to do it almost daily. So you start, I ordered about 2,000 mealworms last week, and you can see them in the draws. And right now, that's the stage that we would feed to our chickens. And they don't require too much. They need moisture. And so that you can provide it with carrots, with apples, sweet potatoes, regular potatoes. And if you can see where I had the sweet potato, there's a whole bunch of mealworms underneath. And they will eat that, but they're mostly using it for moisture. The bedding is coarse wheat bran, and I put these bags in the freezer to keep them fresh. And I just kind of like put, enough, about an inch or so in the draw, and the mealworms will eat it. I kind of go through it on a daily basis and I look for the different stages of the mealworm. So there's the pupa and then there's the beetle. There's also dead mealworms, so I do take all those out, and you'll see too that they shed their skin or their exoskeleton, and that's kind of like this little lightweight, you can tell it's in the shape of the mealworm, but it's just the skin. And so let's start with the beetle. So the beetle is the adult form. They like to hide underneath the cardboard. I have some potato in here for them for moisture. The darker the beetle, the older. I just found this for the first time. One of the pupa had morphed into a beetle, so this is my first real beetle. These beetles actually came with the 2,000 that I ordered. So I got a few beetles, I got a few aliens, or the pupa form. So those beetles will lay eggs. The eggs will, there's a screen in here. The eggs will drop down to this next layer. And also in this layer, I have the pupa form. So the pupa form is kind of like an alien. They're alive. They don't do very much. They don't eat, but the beetles will eat them, and so will the mealworms. And if you look really closely, some of the pupa are actually changing into the beetle. So once they change to a beetle, I'm going to put them back up here in this first drop. Then all this little bit of dust that's dropping down in here, hopefully there are eggs in there. And the eggs will then change into the mealworm. And then the mealworm will turn into the pupa and then eventually into the beetle. So that's the cycle. And you just kind of need to keep it clean, provide food for them, the wheat bran, and that's all that's really to it.